Dear Phil Spencer, sup? You've been doing a great job with Xbox so far, acquiring more studios, Xbox Game Pass, and a bunch more stuff. However, I just have one question to ask. Where the f is Fable 4? We know full well Playground Games' second studio's work on the next installment of the Fable franchise, yet you still want to walk around all giggly and happy singing Kumbaya as if there's not care in the world. Well, hell! Nothing gets past me, Philip. I've seen through your pitiful, pathetic plans, and I know Fable 4 is in the works. Now let's cut to the chase, shall we? Fable is my favourite gaming franchise, and I will be damned if this one turns out to be another Fable 3, so here's my proposition. You take into account these 5 things that need to change in Fable 4 so it can keep up to date with current RPGs, and in exchange, I promise not to delete your precious Fortnite account. Let's begin. I feel like I don't need to explain why this one is bad in any open world game that touts freedom and exploration, but you clicked on this video for a reason, so here it is. Invisible walls suck. End of video, bye! Just kidding. Let's carry on. They ruin immersion and keep reminding you that yes, this is a video game with restrictions. They're a cheap way to keep players either locked out of an area that isn't explorable yet or in an area that the developers don't want us to leave. GTA 5 did a great job of allowing us players to go anywhere we want, and when we did hit the edge of the world, instead of blocking us from going further, our vehicle dies and we get eaten by sharks. Not the nicest of deaths, but better than your character standing still and a piece of text popping up saying "Sosbra," but you can't go no further. Fable games were really guilty of this, and it's kind of funny how I'm this great hero who can manipulate all forms of magic, wield huge weapons, take down dragons, but this rock proves to be too difficult for me to jump over. It's ridiculous and doesn't belong in video games anymore. Invisible walls, that is. Not the rocks. Rocks can stay. Who doesn't love finishing an open world RPG game in 6 hours? Not this guy. Nope, that's for sure. I love spending £50 on a game and completing it before brunch because nothing says worth every penny than a game that's shorter than a Smurf's penis. For all the crap I give Fable 3, I still adore that game and no one will ever convince me to dislike any of the 3 main Fable games, but truth be told, I did actually finish Fable 3 in 6 hours in one of my playthroughs, and yes, that was with doing a few side missions here and there. It was a very short main story, and a lot of that might have to do with the fact that Microsoft wanted Fable 3 out so quick that they only gave Lionhead Studios roughly 2.5 years from Fable 2 to develop it, which doesn't leave much room for a long campaign. I'm not saying Fable 4 needs a story as long as The Witcher 3 or Red Dead Redemption 2, I just enjoy a story that's long enough for me to get emotionally invested in the characters and the world. Am I the only one that disliked the multiple regions in the Fable games? Don't get me wrong, they didn't ruin the enjoyment, it's just I remember walking to a region gate and instead of being teleported to the next region, I actually wanted to travel there myself, go through the world, walk along the path and find stuff to do along the way. I enjoy the journey, but the regions took that away from us. Instead, we're forced to explore through these small to slightly large handcrafted specific areas. Now I know that everything in an open world game is placed there by the developers, but in games like Skyrim, when we journey through an area and happen to find something along the way, it feels organic, like we found it all by ourselves and it wasn't specifically placed there. Whereas in Fable, because we explore through so many of these split open areas, we know there are things here to find, and when we do, it doesn't feel natural. It's like, yep, of course something had to be here because what possible other purpose could this place have been created for? Whereas in Skyrim, sometimes something would be there just for the sake of being there and not have any purpose at all. I know my explanation for this is terrible and I don't have any excuse as to why it's so terrible because this is a scripted video, but I know there are some people out there who understand what I'm trying to say, but for those of you who don't, just smile and wave, boys. Look, long story short, I think one big open world that lets you explore through every nook and cranny is far better than an open world that is split into 15 sections that has tons of limitations within them. If I see something interesting in the distance, I want to be able to go there and explore it. End of story, good day. But you didn't even— I said good day. If a game has no challenge, it's boring, especially in an RPG. That's my opinion at least, but I assume a lot of people agree. Dark Souls is popular for a reason. If a game is difficult, it makes upgrading armor, weapons and stats more important and meaningful. Now, I'm not bashing anyone who wishes to play the game on an easy mode, as some people just enjoy playing through the story and don't want to deal with all the schematics of upgrading and tactfully taking down enemies. Nothing wrong with it, but a hard mode would be welcome for us fans who enjoy challenge. The Fable games got easier and easier over time. Fable 3 was insanely easy. All you had to do was spam magic the entire game. I rarely ever got knocked down, and I remember one playthrough where I didn't fall at all. Not to mention that when you do die, you don't actually die. You just get knocked down, lose your progression to your next level up, get back on your feet at that exact moment and carry on fighting. Basically, you don't need to level up, as there is no real negative consequence to falling in battle, making every stat, weapon, experience gain useless. A lot of players complained about the ease of the Fable games, and some have suggested that when you go down in battle, you should get scars on your body as a permanent reminder of your embarrassing defeat. I think that's an epic idea, as you can later recall all the times you've lost by the body count of your scars. Great work, internet. I can always count on you for stuff like this. And of course, dark videos that no one should ever see sent as a link with a caption. Don't worry, it's just a picture of a kitten in a cup. It's never a kitten in a cup. Don't click the link. This one's going to be quick. Bring back armor. I really don't need to explain why removing armor in an RPG and replacing it with clothing is a dumb idea. The plated armor from Fable 1 was awesome, and I felt awesome wielding that set when going into the arena for the first time. Now all I care about when playing Fable is dyeing my hat to match my shoes, and wondering how nice do my boobs look in this dress. Answer: very nice. Alright, well that'll do it for this video. Do not forget to... oh wait. Seems as though I may have finished this video a little bit too early. Well, in that case, how about we go over a couple more things that I think would be awesome to add into the next Fable game? So then, let's begin. Again. Jack of Blades was such an amazing character in the first Fable game, and there hasn't been a character since then that comes even close to Jack's badassery. It's great when a game has a compelling villain, as it keeps the main story more interesting. Vaas from Far Cry 3 is the absolute best part of that game, and Fable 2 and 3's main antagonists just weren't all that great. And whilst I'd love them to bring Jack of Blades back, they don't need to necessarily do that. I just like them to put more effort into an antagonist so I actually care enough to see the conclusion. I mean, just the fact that Jack of Blades burnt down your village, killed your dad, gouged his eyes out, and then later slit him straight in front of you made him such a despicable character, but yet he still managed to remain quite charming. Well, when I put it like that, Fable sounds like a really dark game. How do my parents ever let me play this? Wow, bad mum and dad, very bad parenting. The buying a house, getting married, having a child part of Fable was so unique at the time. Having a family in Fable just gave us a greater connection to the game, and that's why I'd personally love it if they expanded on it. Giving the wife and children more dialogue, animation, and missions. It would be cool if your child grew up and you could go hunting or fighting monsters with them. There was also this idea many years back that if you died, you would carry on playing as the child, but apparently Lionhead Studios couldn't figure out a way to implement that feature into the game, as it seemed way too troublesome. Now, I wouldn't say they need to go that far, but just the whole family experience of the game being more immersive would be great in my book. When they tried to introduce multiplayer into the Fable games, I was really excited, but unfortunately they didn't actually pan out the way we wanted to, or the way that they hyped it up to be. So if they do make a Fable 4, I would love a multiplayer co-op experience, but a better version. I feel like they could even put the Fable Legends multiplayer onto Fable 4 and just add it on as a mode. I mean, why not? It would be quite cool to have that game and also Fable 4 as the classic Fable game that we always wanted. And of course an improved co-op would be cool because, well, it's co-op. Fable 3's co-op wasn't that great, but I feel like if they put enough time and effort into it, they can make something really special with the co-op experience in Fable, as it really warrants it, and I feel like it could be something truly fantastic that can add longevity and much more enjoyment to the game. I mean, just the fact that you can marry the other player if you choose to was such a funny but quite cool idea to have. And of course, just the thought of me being able to play an RPG game with my friend from beginning to end makes my man parts leak just a little bit. Okay, I know most people wouldn't want this to happen, and if they don't do this, to be honest, I wouldn't mind. But the reason I'd love a reboot is because of how the timeline in the universe is messed up. Because of all the events that transpired in the first 3 games, we'd only be able to go further down the line, which we wouldn't want to do considering that it'll be too futuristic. The alternative is that they could go back in time to before the events of Fable 1, to where heroes roam the world, but at that point, if they're gonna go all the way back, they may as well just reboot the whole universe and have their own games. I wouldn't mind, because at least then we still have the original Fable trilogy, and Playground Games could do their own thing without restrictions of having to have certain things play out in certain ways to make sure it coincides with the events of the other Fable games. They could also alter parts of the lore to fit their own games if need be. Get what I mean? No? You hate the idea and me for even suggesting it? You're gonna dislike this video and leave a nasty comment and start my cat? Well, aren't you special? Goodbye.